This month, we're taking a look at Fannie Mae's Homeownership Survey and how Chicago did in June, so stay tuned. Welcome to another local market update with Rick Batista. Welcome to another monthly market update, just when you thought the smoke had lifted from Chicago skies. Hope you're enjoying the summer so far, the few weeks that we do get around here. This month we're taking a look at Fannie Mae's Homeownership Survey that recently came out. Why? Well, for you as a consumer, homeowner, potential or active seller or buyer, landlord, renter, I think it's very useful information to understand the mindset of the general public. This information certainly doesn't speak for everyone, but let's face it, thanks to mainstream and social media, we all get fed a lot of information, and most of the time a lot of the same information. And many times this information can be difficult to sift through. I'm here to help bring some clarity beyond the scary and potentially misleading headlines or memes, particularly when it comes to the housing market. Another reason we wanted to go through the survey is because as a realtor, it's important to understand the mindset of consumers, customers, and our potential clients, which is you or will be you one day. The more we understand how and what you feel, what your questions or concerns are, etc., the more we can help give you the peace of mind you need so that you can make the best and most informed decisions for you and your household with confidence. And that's really important to me, that you feel confident with the decisions you make, because buying and selling real estate, becoming a landlord, deciding whether to rent for another year, all those are very important and potentially stressful decisions to make on your own. So don't do it alone. Talk with me or another realtor who's knowledgeable and understands the local market, as well as what's going on nationally and with the economy and how everything could potentially impact your household. You might have to even talk with your attorney or accountant to gain perspective and insight. Bottom line, don't think you have to do all this research and make these decisions all by yourself. Don't get me wrong, ultimately the decisions are yours, but the tedious process of gathering information does not have to be a lonely one. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this video discusses both national and local data. The local data we'll share in just a bit is for Chicago proper, the 77 areas. And although we do service all of Chicagoland, including the Burbs, later in this video, we're only going to dive into the city's data. So let's get started with some fun facts, and we'll share some other info and insights with you before covering the city's numbers. Fun facts, market time. Temperatures are heating up, yet the U.S. housing market remains cooler than usual for this time of year due to a combination of low inventory and higher borrowing costs, which have restricted market activity going into the summer home buying season. According to the latest data from the National Association of Realtors, national existing home sales climbed 0.2% from the previous month, but were down 20.4% compared to the same time last year, as fluctuating mortgage rates and a near all-time low level of inventory continued to influence home sales. New listings in the city of Chicago were down 25.9% for detached homes and 33.5% for attached properties. Listings under contract decreased 4.9% for detached homes and 9% for attached properties, attached being condos and townhomes. The median sales price was down 5.5% to $335K for detached homes, but remained flat at $375K for attached properties. Month supply of inventory increased 1.9% for detached units, but decreased 8.5% for attached units. Nationwide, total housing inventory increased 3.8% from the previous month for a 3-month supply at the current sales pace. The shortage of homes for sale has kept prices high for remaining buyers, with a national median sales price of $396,100 as of last measure, a 3.1% decline from the same time last year and the largest annual increase since December 2011, according to the National Association of Realtors. As demand continues to outpace supply, properties are selling quickly, with the majority of homes listed for sale on the market for less than a month. Rental prices are beginning to decline, with rents for studios to 2-bedroom properties dropping 0.5% year over year to $1,739 per month among the 50 largest metropolitan areas, according to Realtor.com's most recent monthly rental report, making the first annual decline since 2020 when trend data began. Despite the nationwide decline, rents continue to rise in more affordable areas such as the Midwest and the Northeast, where demand has remained especially strong due to robust job markets and limited rental inventory. And to cover a couple of points there during our fun fact segment, it is very difficult to compare 2023 to the last few years, especially from mid-2020 through, I would say, first couple of quarters of last year, as it was just an absolute anomaly what happened in the real estate market compared to what's happening this year. This year we're seeing a much normal market. So yes, things are down, but we are in a much normal market, especially if you compare it to the pre-pandemic years of 2017, 18, and 19. And to touch on the rents, because we do cover the rental market as well as sales. Yes, rents may be down in some areas across the country. Chicago, we've been seeing a lot more white-collar jobs coming to Chicago, and with that bringing much more qualified renters, certainly people who can potentially afford to buy a home, but for the time being, especially being new to the city or new to the job, I want to get acclimated in the city and or their new company before making any big decisions like that. Across the board, certainly entering a more interesting rental market right now as we head towards fall and winter. Certainly not the craze that you see typically in April, May, and June, the spring market and early summer market here in Chicago. But overall, definitely seeing rents on the rise this year compared to last year and even the last couple of years before that. Now let's talk about this Fannie Mae survey. This first slide here talks about aspirations of home ownership, and this is again from Fannie Mae, their National Housing Survey. Big takeaways here: 70% believe buying a home is a safe investment. 87% believe owning a home is an important factor in the good life, or the life that they would like to have. And we'll certainly dive a little bit deeper into all of that fun stuff. And looking at this next slide, the benefits of home ownership. These are the results of that same survey. Living in a place where you and your family feel safe, 88% said that. Living in a nicer home, 84%. Living within your budget, 71%. And having less stress, 66%. Let's talk about those one by one. Safety. Well, I think that's a concern for everyone. This can happen anywhere, but at the end of the day, I think it's safe to say, pun intended, that everyone wants to feel safe in their home, and ideally in the neighborhood or area they choose to live in and or can afford to live in. You know, I have to confess something. As a realtor, I really can't stand when my colleagues say that they're a luxury realtor or they specialize in luxury real estate. Some of you out there may consider that having a pool is luxurious. Others, your own tennis court. And on the other side of the spectrum, some of you may just want to be able to live in a place that's not infested with pests, or you don't want to have to worry about your landlord coming in unannounced. I just don't feel that we as realtors have the right to tell you what's luxury living, because luxury can mean different things to different people. There certainly are dream homes out there and custom built homes. And there's nice homes. Then there might be a home that you just can't wait to move out of. And in one of those types of homes, if you have to live in it, it's your home. And you want it to be nice as possible, based on your needs, wants, current budget, and current or future goals. And sometimes simply out of necessity for your current situation. Speaking of budgets, with a mortgage versus rent, particularly with a fixed rate mortgage, you can have control of what will likely be the biggest chunk of your monthly budget, your housing payment. And although we just covered in our fun fact segment that rents drop slightly over time, rents have increased and will likely continue to do so, especially in metro areas like Chicago. So having that peace of mind that potentially for the next 30 years, you can expect to pay X amount of dollars each month, better helps you budget when groceries go up or tuition is coming through the pipeline, and trying to make the decision of whether you should get that cat or dog or second home or new car, etc., etc., etc. Having less stress, who the heck wouldn't want that? Especially after the last few years the world's lived through. You'll hear me say often, you can't put a price tag on peace of mind, and you just can't. What do I think the greatest takeaway is of this chart? 3 out of the 4 categories listed here have to do more with emotions than money. If you've been following me for a while, you've heard me say this before. Real estate is 100% all about emotions. Even the money aspect is tied into your emotions, especially feeling financially secure, obtaining or working toward generational wealth, and the sense of fulfillment or responsibility in this life to take care of your loved ones in the afterlife. What do you believe the benefits of homeownership are? Love to hear your thoughts down below. Speaking of financial security, so let's take a look at this next slide. Number 1 factor of living the good life for those surveyed is being financially secure. Owning a home is number 6 on this list, and being a homeowner, as we talked about a moment ago, can lead to stability in your budget, which can make financial security a little easier to attain. And if you look at the other 8 factors on this list, I can think of several ways they can tie into home ownership. I have to chuckle seeing home ownership squeaking out the desire to be happily married. But I suppose like buying may not be for everyone, and renting may not be for everyone, marriage may not be for everyone either. This next slide here, people surveyed were asked whether owning a home is very important. 72% of the Hispanic population surveyed, 67% of the Black population surveyed, overall 59% of the general population surveyed, and 55% of the white population surveyed. I have to honestly wonder where other ethnicities surveyed landed, but I would imagine that homeownership is number 1, important to the majority of people across all walks of life, and number 2, owning a home is certainly still a big part of the American dream. In this next slide here, people were asked which is a safer investment with a lot of potential. 73% surveyed said buying a home versus 55% buying stocks. And you can see here going back to 2011, and these results are from Fannie Mae's National Housing Survey Q4 of each year. Please note that the survey was not done in 2017 and 2021 for whatever reason. This next slide here is comparing Q4 of each year listed going back to 2011, again, minus 2017 and 2021. And it shows building wealth always seen as important. You can see across the board here, definitely in the 80s, never surpassing, well, actually one time surpassing 85%, but that's where we were last year in Q4 of 2022 at 85%. Highest point was in Q4 of 2019. And a couple more here. This one is a top 3 in each category. A percentage who said it's better to own if you want to achieve, fill in the blank. As far as lifestyle benefits, number 1, having control over your living space, which is huge, especially for those people who want to make modifications when you're renting, but you just can't. Number 2, having a sense of privacy and security, very important. Number 3, having a good place to raise your family, whether those are children or it could be your furry family. As far as financial benefits go, number 1, having the best investment plan. 2, being better off financially overall. And number 3, saving for retirement and building up wealth. And this last slide here from the survey, percent who said it's better to own if you want to achieve, again, fill in the blank. You see here we have listed in blue lifestyle reasons and in green financial reasons. And interestingly enough, 6 out of 10 are about lifestyle. As we talked about at the top of this video, emotions. Certainly financial matters come into play when it comes to real estate. There's no doubt about that. There's no arguing that point. Emotions are the number one driving factor, whether it's for you as a homeowner, buyer, seller, renter, landlord, building your investment portfolio for retirement, whatever the case is. Always stems from your emotions, what you're trying to do and achieve in life, whether it's now, later, or from the beyond. Before we go and cover the city's data, I wanted to mention, because we do an every monthly market update, especially for the last several months, lender-mediated report from the Chicago Association of Realtors. This is for June of 2023. Share of closed sales that were lender-mediated, and lender-mediated are properties that were foreclosed, REO, pre-foreclosure, short sale, essentially bank-owned or soon-to-be bank-owned properties, 2.3%. And many of the headlines talk about how it's up compared to last year and the years prior, last couple of years during the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we had a foreclosure moratorium, and anything above 0 is certainly going to seem catastrophic, but 0.3%. Last month was 2.6, April was 3.3, and if you take a look at here down the line, February was at 3.9 actually, and January was at 4.0, but going back to September, we were certainly below 3%. So nothing catastrophic. We don't anticipate it to be catastrophic, at least those who know the market really well. Wouldn't expect it to be catastrophic. Can't predict the future, but at this point in time, not something to worry about, folks. With that said, closures, short sales, et cetera, all of those things are a part of life. And although it's certainly a very difficult thing for people to go through, something that you don't have to go through alone. If you yourself are going through that or on the verge or brink of having to tackle that situation, please don't do it alone. Just give us a call. We do have a great deal of experience handling foreclosures and short sales and tax liens and you name it. Yeah, we've dealt with it. And we work with a wonderful team of attorneys who have a great deal of knowledge who can help us navigate through all of those murky waters. So whether you're going through something or you suspect somebody who is, because a lot of times this is a very embarrassing and delicate situation that people don't like to talk about, please have them reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to have a conversation and see how we can help. Now it's time to wake up for the moment you've all been waiting for. This information is for the month of June 2023 and is current as of July 14th. We are going to be covering some information here, just some quick facts as far as all properties, all residential properties. And there's data for attached single-family home. Again, those are condos and townhomes on this report, but for the sake of the video and time, we're just going to be talking about detached single-family homes. So overall, last month we saw a change in new listings for all residential properties. We were down 30.6%. Closed sales down by 23.9%, and inventory of homes down by 30.7%. We'll be comparing June of this year to June of 2022, and then through June of this year compared to January 1st to June 30th of last year, 2022. New listings, we've wrapped up the month with 1,579 detached single-family homes, down by nearly 26% comparing the two Junes. 8,439 year-to-date, which was down 16.6% year-over-year. Closed sales, 946 last month, down by 15.1%. But year-to-date, 4,290, down by 24.8% year-over-year. And properties that were under contract as far as single-family detached homes, 863 versus 907, down by 4.9%, comparing both Junes. 4,898 year-to-date, down by 16.8% year-to-date. Median sales price, we talked about this recently. It is a quick indicator, but maybe not necessarily the most accurate indicator. We'll take a look at the average sales price in just a moment. But median sales price for a detached single-family home in Chicago, $335K, down by 5.5%. You're comparing both Junes. Certainly not indicative of a single-family home in every area or neighborhood of Chicago, but that is across the board throughout the city. And year-to-date, $300K, which was down 7.1% year-over-year. Average sales price, big difference is you'll see $492,668, down by 9.9% comparing both Junes. And the year-to-date number, 441,231, down by 9.6% year over year. Average list price, I think, is very interesting to take a look at this number as well. Kind of helps gauge sellers and realtor confidence. Although sellers are making the ultimate decision, realtors are there to guide them. I think it certainly does help indicate where sellers' mindsets are at and their confidence levels. The average list price for a single-family detached home in the city of Chicago last month, $504,881, up by 2.3% compared to the last 2 Junes. $515,795 year to date, up by 0.3% year over year. Percent of original list price received, a very important indicator as to whether or not a city or area, and we'll have some other videos out for some of the local areas, or more, I should say, hyper-local areas. But I think this is a great indicator that Chicago is still a desirable city, metro city to live in. 98.4%, certainly down to June of 2022. That was at 19.4%. But the difference there is just 1%, 98.4, I think, for city of Chicago overall is pretty respectable. Certainly a city that I love, and I think there's a lot of people still coming here, even though there's some people leaving. That's just going to happen. That's reality, that's life, but plenty of people still come to Chicago. 96.8% was the year-to-date figure, which was down by nearly 2% year over year. Market time, another great indicator of how the market's doing and or the level of desirability for homes across Chicago. 58 days in the market was the average market time last month compared to 42 the year before, up by 36.6%. And 76 year-to-date compared to 54 the year prior, up by 41.1% year over year. An inventory of homes for sale, we wrapped up the month of June with 2,148 detached single-family homes, which was down by 21.1% year over year. What does all this information mean for you? Heck if I know. All depends on what's going on in your life and your household. Let's start a conversation and see how we can help you make the most informed decisions. If you'd like copies of any reports or slides we shared with you today, feel free to reach out. You can call, text, or email. My contact info is below. And remember, love and money may come and go, but time is something we never get back. So I appreciate and thank you for spending some of your time with me today. If you want to stay on top of the market with us, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And think of one person who you believe will benefit from this information, and be sure to share it with them. So always take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.